Star Trek has so many great villains and yet has so many terrible villains. I wanted to hear what one of your horrible villains were from the legendary, amazing movies that are not as good as the TV shows. But anyways,
the situation is grim.
I'm gonna go start with the original Star Trek, the motion picture. I'm gonna use Voyager, or as it was the Voyager probe turned into a sentient being.
Oh,
it was
no.
a Star Trek motion picture. It was great to see it back on the big screen or be on the big screen, but it was a kind of a really boring movie. And Voyager was a boring bad guy.
Everybody, all the Star Trek fans, just clicking off right now. Just what are these guys talking about? I agree. I agree. Actually,
there is a caveat to this, though. There's a wonderful mid 90s book that I read when I was in the Navy. It was a Star Trek novel based off of, I think it was called The Return. The Romulans pull Kirk out of the ground from his little burial, and they revive him and to turn him against the Federation. But Picard intercedes, and they go and fight the Borg together. And it turns out that Voyager is actually part of the Borg, and the Borg had found the original Voyager probe and turned it into a Borg.
Whoa. That would make Voyager a lot more interesting. I agree. Right. As much as I love Star Trek, the motion picture has always been kind of slow to me. I always say it's, in quotations, deliberately paced, but it's a little too deliberately paced. Voyager's it's just there. I don't know. I've never really found it thrilling. But that's a good one. My first right off the bat is from a movie I just recently took a massive dump on, which is Star Trek Insurrection with Ru'afo, played by the Academy Award winner F. Murray Abraham. I think this was such a horrible, very confusing character.
There's an alternative to an all-out assault. Isolinear tags would allow our transporters to lock onto them.
We'd have to tag every one of them. That would take time, and we don't have it.
With okay makeup, not as good as we've been used to at this point, and a plan that was really stupid and didn't make any sense.
There's some good scenes in that movie.
I agree.
But the bad guy itself is a horrible bad guy. It's very two-dimensional. They didn't use his acting skills.
No.
It was beyond belief. These were first and only drafts of music.
The skin stretching and cosmetic stuff. And
I kind of got that this whole civilization had found almost eternal youth, and the Sona were trying to recapture that.
Be tempted by the promise of perpetual youth.
Kind of metaphor to plastic surgery. But the whole, we're going to magically beam these people onto a spaceship and use the Federation to do it. But the Federation weren't really aware, but they were.
I'm acting on orders from the Federation Council.
The only scene in the trailer I remember using is when he does that screaming thing, and it's like, that you have this guy that won an Academy Award, which is, the pinnacle of filmmaking perfection, and you just go with this weird screaming noise. And I will 100% use it a million different times in this video.
That was like the moment he ate shit too, right? That was the scream before he.
Yeah, that was the moment that Picard had flipped it on him and had actually reverse transported him, and he didn't realize it. It's like, up to that point, we've always been aware that everybody is aware they're being transported in the Star Trek universe.
And besides Dr. Evil, who in the hell has a couch on the?
That's true. He did have like a Lazy Boy Deluxe.
He had a Lazy Boy Deluxe in his bridge. It was so weird. It's
very odd.
Okay.
What is your next villain?
This is an easy one, but it's from one of my favorite Star Trek movies, and that's the Voyage Home, and it's the whale probe.
That's an interesting one.
It's an inanimate object. It doesn't really, and I know it is the main bad guy, but it's not really, because it's the fish out of water thing, them having to face the 80s and all that. The whale probe, you really never find its motive. Like, okay, is it from a whale planet? Is there whales driving it?
Right.
What is it want? It's going to tear up the earth. It's talking to the whales and its tone. And then when they solve it, they throw 2 whales in there who are from the era where we're hunting whales. Don't you think those whales are going to get in the water and talk to it and say,
that's a good
hey,
point.
These
guys are assholes.
These mother effers have been destroying us in the past, and now we're extinct. So I think you should just go ahead and destroy the planet so we can make more of us. I don't know. It was such a odd experience, but I did love the Voyage Home. It doesn't distract from that, because I think it's a great show for all the original series guys, or a great movie. But the bad guy itself is just like, again, it's with Voyager. It's just an inanimate object. It's like,
I do love. So I rewatched this recently, and I'm gonna throw it out as usual, but I ranked it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Go download Letterboxd. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, but the one knock for me was, even though this ominous presence of this probe was there, and it had this creepy vibe, and it was screwing with all of Starfleet and Earth. I didn't have any personality. I like my villains with some sort of personality. They don't always have to be the anti-hero, but they have to have something going on. And it was just, here's a probe coming towards Earth. But Star Trek up to that point we had Khan.
I mean to avenge myself upon you, Admiral.
We had so many great villains up to that point, and resorting to another probe. Cruise, thank you. That was another one my brain was just skipping out on.
Right.
The planet's destroying itself.
Yes, accelerating, isn't it?
Not to completely beat a dead horse on probes, but I think we're very anti-probe.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Here, and I think you could really build up on just how many damn probes these movies use, and Star Trek in general. Right. A villain for me that's going to absolutely shock everybody or nobody at all is Khan.
Them's fighting words.
Except Khan from Star Trek Into Darkness, and not played by Ricardo Montalban.
So glad you put that in there.
No, I rewatched Wrath of Khan recently again. Through the lovingly eyes of Letterboxd, and gave it a 4.5 out of 5. That movie is majestic. Montalban is just a beautiful man, just chest wonderfully out. And then we get to Benedict Cumberbatch, who is one of the finest actors of our generation, playing
Khan.
The same character in a role we all knew he was playing the moment he got signed on. And the movie, step for step, recaptured Wrath of Khan, but failed to do so in the same spirit or same way. And Wrath of Khan had that whole element built in of Kirk not being able to accept losing. And the whole movie is him trying to fight the thought of losing. And at the end, he finally wins. He beats Khan. And in the end, we realize he really doesn't. He loses Spock. And you can't cheat victory, even though it's kind of funny because then in 3 he comes back to life, so he kind of did cheat it. But anyways, and Into Darkness, we just kind of cheat all of that, and it just, I don't know. I know it's more my problem with the movie itself than the actual character.
But it was the reveal. The reveal was like they kind of like turned it around and it like said his name, and it's almost like they broke the fourth wall and looked at the audience and said, we fooled you. And everybody in the audience was like, no, we knew he was going to be Khan.
Yeah, because J.J. Abrams had done interviews and he's like, no, he's somebody else. He's whatever his name is, like Bennett Smith or something. It's like, just call him John Doe and just say that he's going to be Khan. It's so, and I mean, that movie has interesting thoughts in it. The whole thought of militarization of Starfleet, which is, something that I really love in Deep Space Nine. And they had that in there, but then they just take everything that they did better in Wrath of Khan and let's just throw money at it. Let's just throw a lens flare. Let's just throw a blue filter at it. And it just doesn't do anything for me. And outside of Khan being played by Benedict Cumberbatch, can you tell me any personality traits of Khan that aren't the same as the Khan we already saw? Right. He's not a different character. He didn't make it his own. It wasn't really exciting. He had like some pure violence elements where he smashed RoboCop's head in, and it was like, okay, that's cool, whatever, fine.
That's where he stole the show, because I thought as a bad guy, the Admiral was
the bad guy.
He was a good bad guy.
Yeah, he was, and I mean, it's funny to me because Nero was a fine bad guy. I know people think he should probably be on this list. And then Crawl, played by Idris Elba, was a great bad guy too. Or in his own way, he was a good bad guy.
I think you underestimate humanity.
I fought for humanity! Lost millions to the Zinti and Romulan wars! And for what?
And they were all completely created characters that kind of linchpinned in the universe. Mm-hmm. And so going and creating Khan in this timeline is just like, when you have somebody like Benedict Cumberbatch, who's a wonderful actor, going against Chris Pine and that amazing crew, you want to see somebody different, and you just got a rip-off of Khan.
Yeah, RoboCop. I'm still thinking he was yin and yang. That's a lot.
Oh, yin and yang. Deep cut reference. Reference.
Right.
Nobody watching this video is going to know what that deep cut reference is, but I will include it on the screen.
Right.
Do you have one last honorable mention you'd like to throw up?
Duras Sisters.
Oh my God, the Duras Sisters. The Duras Sisters and Sora in general, and Star Trek Generations, are hot booty cheeks. They are horribly realized. Don't understand Soren's plan at all. It doesn't make any sense. And the Duras Sisters
they're like, how are you two commanding a ship? Because you're both a bunch of freaking comical goons.
Right.
Human females are so repulsive.
Yeah, and they were trying, I was like, what is their motive? And their motive was that Soren was going to give them some sort of technology that was going to advance their placement in the Klingon Empire. And it's like, haven't we seen, like, isn't that all the Klingon Empire stories are? Right. And that's all they did was, and it sucks because Ronald D. Moore wrote that script, and Ronald D. Moore obviously has done so many great things, including writing First Contact.
They invade our space, and we fall back. They assimilate entire worlds, and we fall back.
So much work on Deep Space Nine, and of course Battlestar Galactica, and it's like, was that just your off day, dude? Were you just sitting up with your old Commodore 64 writing the script and just put together this mangled fart? I don't know. I agree. The Duras Sisters stink, and I hate that we have to end it on that note because the Duras Sisters suck.
Yes.
But write better villains. I hope the next Star Trek movie understands what makes a good villain. Make their motives clear.
The rumor is that the Kelvin universe next one's been scrapped, of course, but they're thinking about doing a Kelvin universe Next Generation.
Ugh.
I will make them pay for what they've done.
Yeah.
Hey.
Recasting all of the Next Generation in the Kelvin universe.
Hey, wait a minute. I think somebody did a video on that.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. And I think maybe you guys should go watch that right now. And we'll see you tots on the next episode.